Hello everyone, this is Lincolnus Prime, and today we are taking a look at the Super Action Statues Jonathan Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, Phantom Blood. Now, before we take a look at JoJo, as always, we'll be taking a quick look at the box. So basically, on the front we have Jonathan Joestar, on the side, and then we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I believe this has Super Action Statues, and then we also have Super Action Statues at the top. On the side we get a picture of Jonathan. On the other side we get the same picture of Jonathan, Jonathan Joestar. On the back we get some product shots of JoJo. We get him in some poses with the Luck Pluck sword in his classic kind of hand in front of face pose, and some other stuff. We get the accessories and just some extra faces, and he does come with a stand, which I did accidentally break, so I'm going to be using a different stand. We get a bio that I cannot read because I can't read Japanese, but that is pretty much there is to say about the box. And moving right along, here we have Jonathan Joestar out of the box, and this figure looks absolutely amazing. The color and the detail look great. The paint also looks really good. You notice there's a lot of shading in the skin tones, and as well as like the pants and the boots, and even in the face, and even in the shirt as well. But all that shading detail looks really nice. But the overall physique and the shape of Jonathan looks absolutely outstanding. Now, this is one of the bigger figures in the Super Action Statues line, because for some reason later on the figures start to get a little bit smaller and a little less buff. The weird thing is I have Joseph and Jotaro, and Joseph, Jotaro, and Jonathan are supposed to be the same height, around like I think 153 centimeters, but for some reason they tend to get shorter, and I don't understand that. Like, I understand they get a little bit less buff, but when it comes to height, I don't think that is supposed to really change. But overall, I don't know, when it comes to the size of the figures, it doesn't really matter too much to me, as long as, you know, the figure just looks good, which this figure definitely does. Now, some other details I'd like to mention as well are in the face. This face looks absolutely amazing, as well as the hair as well. I think the way the hair was sculpted looks really nice. The eyes as well, with that really nice Araki art style look to it. It kind of feels like Araki's art style just came to life in some weird way and kind of just became 3D, and it looks really well. I think it translated very properly and very nicely into action figure form. The only problem I do have on the face is he has a little bit of a paint scuff on his chin, but if you point it down, it's not too noticeable. But the paint and everything is aligned very nicely and properly, and that is very cool in my opinion. But everything else, just literally everything else about this figure is absolutely outstanding. And moving on, here we have JoJo's accessories. Now, he doesn't come with too much, but he never really had that much stuff or anything like that in part 1, so this is pretty much the appropriate layout for Jonathan Joestar. We do get a pair of fisted hands, which are basically they come with the figure in the box, like already there. So you get 2 fisted hands, and you get 2 widespread open hands. These ones mainly for like his more well-known pose, so you could use them for that. He comes with these 2 kind of open but closed finger hands, which look pretty nicely. And then he comes with a sword wielding hand and a sheath holding hand, like so. And then we do get Luck Pluck from the series, and another cool feature is that it does say Luck, but with the bloody P right there on the handle, which is a really nice touch. And then the sheath also looks really nice, like so. And yes, it can go into the sheath. However, I don't do this very often, mainly due to not wanting to scratch the paint. So I kind of like just to keep it, unsheathed like that. But really nice looking accessory. He comes with his backpack right here, and the way you do attach it, this does kind of pop off, so it makes it easier to attach, so you don't have to pull anything off. But really nice feature and kind of some nice sculpting there. But yeah, he does have a hole right here, and I will get into that in a little bit. His head, his alternate head with his gritting teeth looks really, really nice. Pretty similar sculpt to the other one. I think the hair is pretty much sculpted the exact same, but the only difference is with the gritted teeth look, so that looks really nice. And then we also do get the action base and this extra adapter piece. So what this is for the backpack, because the thing is with the Jonathan figure, the hole right here, like this is the standard fitting hole right there, but with the backpack, because when you put it on, it adds a little bit extra kind of, you know what I mean. So it comes with this extra stand adapter right here, which is longer than this, so that way it can go through the backpack and to the figure. So a lot of really, really nice accessories with this. But that is basically the basic layout. And in case you guys are wondering, this is what Jonathan looks like with the backpack and the luck plug sword. And now with that out of the way, let us move on to the articulation. So basically, at the head we have a ball joint. The ball joint is small, and I don't really interchange the heads on these that much, just mainly I don't want to break it. But the ball joint does allow the head to look up just a little bit, but there is a hinge joint right here, so the head can look down that much and up that much. And then he also has an extra joint in the lower part of the neck right here, so he can look down even farther and up a little bit more. There's a little bit of side-to-side movement in the neck, but in the lower part of it there's a little bit more. So there's that, and then the head can go all the way around like so. In the abdomen we do have two ball joints here and here, so he can crunch forward about that much and back about that much, and then he can also swivel side to side right there. And then in the shoulders there is this section right here which can maneuver freely. So this kind of does rotate like so, if you need to rotate the arm around a lot more, so that does help. The arm can go full 360, but I'm not going to do that. Actually, I don't even know if it does, mainly just because this might kind of stop it a little bit. But the arm can go out about that much. There is a swivel at the bicep, and then there's also kind of a bit of a swivel in the elbow section, but not much. The elbow bend is pretty decent, not too much, a little over 90 degrees, so that's pretty nice. And then there's also a swivel at the like the hand right here. Basically how this works is it's kind of like it's kind of similar to a Revoltech joint, but without the ratchet. So it can kind of like swivel around and then go up and down, but if you rotate the hand it can also go side to side like so. So that is a pretty nice feature right there. And then in the legs right here, there's a ball joint right here, so the legs can kick forward about that much and back not too much, mainly just because of, yeah. And then the legs can kick out not too far. And then there's also a swivel in the thigh right here, and then the knee bend is also decent. It's a little... It's kind of a little over 90 degrees, but not too bad. And then there's a little bit of swivel right in the knee, but not too much. And then in the ankle right here, the joint is kind of similar to the joints in the hands, so there is a little bit of ankle rocker movement right in here, and then it can rotate, and then there is also a toe bend. So in terms of articulation, that is about it. And these are just some examples of some poses you can get them in. Now for a quick comparison, here we have the Super Action Statues Jonathan Joestar next to a Banpresto figure. This is the Banpresto Kamado Tanjiro. Here we have him next to the Premium Finish Voyager Class Siege Optimus Prime. And for Marvel Legends comparison, the Iron Man Mark 85. And for my final comments on this figure, I would highly recommend finding this if you're a huge fan of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or if you're okay with dropping a little over $100 for a 6-inch action figure, because this thing is not necessarily cheap. I did find this at a booth for a little less than that. I think I found it at a convention that I went to for around like $80, which is still kind of on the not so cheap side, but better than paying over $100 for this, because I don't think I would have paid that much just for this figure. Do I think it's worth it? Not $100. If you can find it for less than maybe around like $70 to $80, then go for it. But this is like with Super Action Statues, I do like to make sure the figure is not, you know, damaged or broken before dropping that kind of money on it. So I would highly suggest, if you're able to find it in some kind of store, not really a store, but just somewhere where they might sell these, I would highly recommend maybe like inspecting these figures first before making the purchase, so that way you don't have, you know, returning it isn't a hassle or anything like that. But overall, you know, this kind of figure right here, it's very sturdy, not so many loose parts. The only problem I really can find is mainly just when it comes to interchanging parts. Because sometimes the pegs in the hands might be, or just the slots for the pegs in the hands might be a bit too small, and you might not want to risk breaking anything. And especially the same thing with the ball joint in the head, because that ball joint is not very big. So when you're, you know, kind of posing around this figure and playing with them, be very, very careful of those joints and be very mindful of them. Maybe kind of go over the sockets with maybe some kind of hair dryer or something to heat up the plastic before putting it in, because that way it might not really risk any breakage or any kind of damage to the figure. But besides, you know, just mainly those kind of things I would caution you guys against when it comes to this. This is an absolutely outstanding figure, and when it comes to like, say, you know, if you're an artist and you like to practice stuff, this would definitely be a really good kind of figure to have if you're kind of trying to practice human physique and all that kind of stuff. I know I might actually use these kind of figures for that, because the proportions are very, very nice looking, and I think it would definitely help with that kind of stuff. But anything, like everything else, the paint, the shading, articulation is absolutely amazing with this figure. So that about wraps it up for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.